Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today is the first in a brand new monthly video series in which I'll be answering questions that y'all send my way. If you have any questions that you want to have a chance to have featured on the next episode, please drop them down in the comments section below. For this introductory episode, I will be answering some commonly asked questions and some questions that were recently asked over on the CasualSAB Discord. As always, chapters are listed down below. Question 1, what got me into STO and what has kept me motivated to stick around? So, like many of you, I grew up watching many of the Trek shows, TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, basically everything but the original series and the animated series. And in the early 2000s, those frequently had episodes popping up on like the Sci-Fi Channel alongside some other really great sci-fi shows like BSG, Stargate, Eureka, Warehouse 13, Farscape, and so on. But to the issue with these other franchises is they don't really have games. And I had a PlayStation 2 when I was growing up in the 2000s, and there was a ton of Star Trek games, but when you looked at those other franchises, there was nothing for Stargate. I had the Stargate game pre-ordered. I had my mom go to Video Games Etc. up in Dubuque, Iowa, pre-order it, and then it got refunded because they canceled that game. So the one Stargate game that was potentially going to happen got canceled. There was a Battlestar Galactica game, which was nothing really that notable. And for the other shows, basically nothing. But you had Star Trek there with plenty of games available on the PS2. You had like Elite Force, Conquest, Encounters, Shattered Universe, which if I recall was not that good. But, there was a lot more content out there for the Star Trek franchise compared to the other things when it came to the video game side of things. So when I was in high school, I was able to build a computer. I had seen a couple years prior, back in like 2009, 2010, about them going through and making STO. And I didn't have a computer at the time to actually play it. But around 2012, I had a little bit more money. I was 16 at the time, or 15 or 16, and I had the money to build a computer. I put one together, and the game had just went free to play, so it was really good timing. And I tried it out. The combat mechanics were nice. The ability to fly your ship as freely as we're able to was really nice. And seeing the build diversity just really got me hooked on the game. I spent the first couple of years really invested in like the PvP side. I had a lot of fun with that early on. And then the DPS side, just seeing how far you could push things. That was one of the main things that kept me motivated to stick around. I really enjoyed challenging myself, trying to do like the 5-player TFOs solo on the hardest difficulty. I thought that was really fun, and I thought it was nice that there was the ability to go in and put together a build and develop the skill level to be able to do that. I really like that the game allows for that. So that was one of the motivating factors for me to stick around. Also was the combat mechanics, the flight mechanics. But aside from that, one of the big things was the community. There's a lot of parts of this community that have really great people in them. There's a couple parts that do have some not so great people, but overwhelmingly the STO player base is really great. And getting involved with various groups, being able to learn and work with people over the years, that really kept me motivated to stick around. We all suffered through some of the rough times of the game together, like when Cryptic really screwed up Delta Rising with the punishments they did for people leveling up too fast, the issues with game bugs along the way, the nerfs. Having these people around me kept me in the game for a long time, and just hanging around, playing the game with people, that's definitely been one of the biggest motivations to stick around. There have been some points where, I did get burnt out and did actually step away from the game for an extended period of time. When the Foundry shut down, that was a big hit for everyone. Big hit for morale for everyone that I played with, and a few people, they also stepped away and they never came back to the game after that. But I did eventually get back in. I hooked back up with some of the people that I'd played with a couple years prior and got involved with some more people. And to this day, one of the main things that's kept me motivated to stick around is the great people that I've been able to play this game with. And Starting up the YouTube channel as well has given me access to another great community that has been a good support structure. And, we've all had some rough points with the game, especially in the past year or two. But, together, I think we've all done pretty good to try and keep each other motivated and stick around, play some TFOs, and just hang out in the game. Question 2, what is my favorite Trek show and Trek movie? So, for the TV show side of things, I'm a big fan of The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. But with how I feel about shows as of late, I would say that I would prefer DS9 or Voyager. I like having a show where there's an overall story that we see develop in the background throughout the course of the season and the show itself. So TNG is great. I love that you can just pick up an episode and be fine, but I do like having that overall story arc that you're seeing develop throughout the course of the show. And between DS9 and Voyager, I like Voyager. I'm from the same place as Kate Mulgrew, so I'm a little bit biased towards Voyager, but I feel like DS9 had more development. We got to see the Federation develop quite a bit throughout the course of that show. We saw how the Federation reacted to a peer threat. We saw how the Federation acted on a wartime footing, and we got exposed to new parts of Starfleet that we hadn't seen before. In addition, we also got to see a bit of development for the Klingons, the Romulans. We got to see a lot of development for the universe at large, the Star Trek universe at large. So for that, I'd have to go with DS9. I think that has contributed a lot, and a lot of elements from DS9 have been able to give the newer Trek shows a bit of extra content to work off of. And for the movie side of things, wow. Star Trek 2, 4, and 6 are good. I couldn't get into TOS itself, but the TOS movies I thought were all really good. And for the TNG side, First Contact, obviously. But I'm one of the few people that doesn't dislike Nemesis. I'm not super thrilled about the ending, but I do like the Romulan stuff that we see in that movie. So my Romulan bias is showing a bit there. If I had to pick on the TNG era for movies, it'd be First Contact. And overall, throughout all of them, man, Star Trek 2, 4, and 6, The Wrath of Khan, Voyage Home, Undiscovered Country, they're all such good movies. But I do like that fight at the end of Star Trek 6 where Sulu's coming in with the Excelsior, fly her apart. I think I'd have to go with Star Trek 6 because that did have some really nice scenes in it, and just the overall plot of that movie was quite nice. Question 3. If I enjoy Star Trek Online, why do I make negative content about it or Cryptic Studios? So this is referencing my recent coverage going over the layoffs and the Deca Games takeover that seems to be happening. And I'm getting a bit of heat for it, but I want to be clear. I'm not the first person talking about this stuff. Massively OP is the first one that publicly talked about the layoffs potentially happening, and I did my video shortly afterwards. I was aware of it before their article, but I had decided to hold off, and once their article dropped, I decided to get something out there so people would understand fully what the potential ramifications could be. When the layoffs did actually happen, when game industry had talked about them, I then did a video going over it, and when Deca Games started putting up job offers for Star Trek Online, Massively OP reported on them, and then I did my video shortly afterwards going over what the potential ramifications could be. Because it was weird that Deca Games is looking to hire for technical positions on the game. You've got half the Stowe team over on LinkedIn with open to work on their profiles. I'm just putting the pieces together, and again, I'm not the first person talking about some of these issues. It's very clear that something bad is happening for Cryptic Studios. Their unreleased projects have been canceled. They have a lot of people that have already been laid off, and it's looking like the people that are still there don't expect to remain there. So I'm just putting the pieces together, and like I said, I'm not the first person to talk about it, and I'm not going to talk about it because at the end of the day, Star Trek Online is a very expensive game. If you want to replicate some of the high-end builds that people like myself are putting together nowadays, some of these builds cost upwards of $2,000 US. That's a lot of money to put into a game, and I don't know about you guys, but if I was a new or returning player, I would want to be aware of the current situation of the game and the developers behind it before making a purchasing decision of that size. And again, this is also a game that is pushing out DLC every couple of months that has a base cost of $300 or $600 with those MUDs bundles and the MUDs Mega bundles. So I think people have a right to know what's going on so that they can factor that into their purchasing decisions. So let me know what you think about that down below. Question 4. What faction and class do I like the most? Rat. Romulan Alien Tactical. That's what I like. I can accept the science also. I think science is a very good class in the current state of the game, but my bias is towards the tactical side with the game being so DPS and damage focused. Tactical just is the most efficient for that type of gameplay. And for the faction, Romulans, in my opinion, have the best starting storyline, and I personally just really like the design of many of the Romulan ships. So, Romulan, alien, so you get the extra trait slot, and tactical, or a rat, is definitely my favorite combo. Question 5. What are my favorite ships from each faction? Ooh, so Romulan, I really like the Mogai, or the Valdor. I've always really liked that design, but the Dalkina design has also grown on me quite a bit over the past year or two, so it's rough. I just wish that we had a better version of the Valdor for energy weapon builds. The legendary one's good, but it's not good enough to move me away from the Dalkina for the type of builds that I'm doing right now. For the Jem'Hadar, the Gem Dread carrier, I've always been a big fan of. I do like the newer skin that has in stow with the refreshed T6 version that they did a couple years back. I think that looks pretty neat. For the Klingons, the Vorcha, I really do like the legendary Vorcha. That skin and that ship, I really do like that. And for the Federation, I really like the Sovereign class. I really do. I just wish that there was a version of it in the game that didn't suck. That's what I wish. So the Sovereign class, visually, my favorite Enterprise. That's my favorite version of the Enterprise, and I really do hope that we see like a nice Terran or some alternative version of it in the future that gives it a stat layout closer to like the legendary Avenger. So something like that would be really cool. Question 6. What tips would I give to a new content creator? So when it comes to the content you're making, be yourself. You know, ultimately, there's only so much that can be covered in the game, and you're bound to cover something that someone else has covered. You can put your own spin on it. You know, when a new ship is released into the game, there is going to be a handful of different creators talking about that ship, and they're all approaching it differently. Even when it comes to builds, we all have a different way that we tend to build ships, how we fly them. So just be yourself, show people how you put things together, show them your approach to it, and you'll be fine. Now, for like getting started on Twitch versus YouTube, I think starting up a channel on both at the same time is good. I would recommend you get very much familiar with OBS, which is going to be the streaming software that you want to use, and also get DaVinci Resolve. It's a free video editor. It's what I'm using for all of my videos that I've released in the past year. McStud is also using it. It's free. Like legitimately, it's very powerful, and it's a free piece of software. So get used to using DaVinci Resolve, get used to using OBS. Start with the focus on the Twitch side of things. You have much better exposure starting up on Twitch. With YouTube, the discovery is really bad for a brand new channel. So you want to start off with Twitch, get people over to your YouTube. Don't necessarily do dedicated YouTube videos off the bat. Instead, in OBS, have it set so that it records to your computer when you're streaming. So when you're done with the stream, you can pop that VOD into DaVinci Resolve and then take snippets of it, put them together, and send them over to YouTube as a video. and start getting a backlog of content over on the YouTube channel that you can push people over to, but you have to start off on Twitch. If you start off on YouTube, you're going to have a very difficult time. Now, as for monetization, with Twitch, you can monetize your channel very early on. Once you have 50 people following you, you gain the ability for people to subscribe to you. So that's a couple bucks per subscription. And you also can put ads onto your stream. With YouTube, there is a lot more earning potential, but the requirements to get your channel monetized are much, much higher. With YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers and like 10,000 watch hours in the past year in order to qualify for monetization. That may or may not have changed. Look it up if you want to be sure on the exact numbers. But the point is, YouTube will take a very long time to get to a point where you can monetize it. And by starting on Twitch, you're going to be able to monetize things a bit early, even just passively through ads. And by taking clips from the Twitch stream, you're not spending time necessarily recording dedicated videos. You are spending time, putting together bits from your stream, but I think that's a much easier and effective approach to go with, especially that early on. So that'd be my set of recommendations. The main thing, get used to OBS, which is the streaming software and the recording software, and also get used to DaVinci Resolve. Both of those are essential tools if you want to do this all for free. Question 7. How much have I spent on Stow since I started playing in 2012? Just under $3,000 US, and all of that, every last bit of it, has been fully funded by all of you that have a channel membership, donate on PayPal, Patreon, Twitch, Super Chats, channel memberships, anything like that. Every bit of money that I have ever put into this game has been fully covered thanks to the support from every last one of you. So, like I say at the end of every single video I do, I really do appreciate all of the support you guys give me, because you guys have not only helped me cover all of the Stow expenditures, but you guys have also helped me with some real life things that have just popped up randomly over the years. The funds from the YouTube channel helped me cover some expenses when we had to move suddenly a couple years back. And there's been other instances like that where these funds have greatly helped out. So again, truly, thank you to every last one of you that watches an ad, does a channel membership, contributes through Patreon, PayPal, so on. It all truly does help. Question 8. Do I spend real money to open lockboxes or promo packs? No. As weird as it may sound, I'm known for opening a lot of lockboxes, but I really don't. I don't spend money on it. Instead, I use in-game assets. So when I returned to the game in 2021, I had a ton of the cross-faction items that Cryptic had just discontinued, and I used the funds from that, the 50 or 60 billion EC that I got from all the DPRMs and the SAD trait boxes that I had. I used the funds from that to fund my new CasualSAB character, which is what I use for all my DPS stuff nowadays, and basically everything now. And I used a lot of those funds to open lockboxes. That's how I have the amount of lobby that I have, and it's how I've been able to get some of the lockbox and promo ships that I've gotten over the past 2 years. Question 9. Is there anything in the game that I don't have, but that I do want to pick up? Yes, there's a couple of bundles. So on the Muds bundle side of things, it's always been hard for me to justify a lot of them given the cost, but I think the next time we see a Muds bundle sale pop up where they bring all the old bundles back, I think I'll probably end up picking up the carrier bundle that has the Zindi Briostris, that's the aquatic carrier, the Gem Dread, and then the T6 version of the Recluse on account-wide unlock. I think I'll end up picking that one up because I really do enjoy each of those ships and would very much like to have them on account-wide unlock. Aside from that, some of the captain bundles I am very much interested in picking up for some theory crafting purposes, but they're just hard to justify. It's not that I can't afford them. I could put the money in right now and pick them up. It's just that it's hard to justify. Even with the 35% sales that they run, it's hard to justify 7,800 Zen for a single ship plus the instant character level up token. I literally do not care about the level up token. I have many different ways that I can power level a character. So spending so much to get that token, it just feels like a waste to me. But I would like to pick up the TOS one for the Miranda, just because I want to mess with the trait in like a solo environment for that shield pen. That's literally the only reason. But it's hard to justify again, $78 for that. Cryptic needs to do a better sale on those captain bundles in my opinion. The other one is the one that has the legendary Vesta, the 2409 or 2410. Like that's the same situation. I just want to mess around with the ship for some theory crafting purposes. It's not going to be anything that practical. I just wish that it wasn't so expensive. If they put them at like $50 for the captain bundle, I'd have bought them already. But at $78, I can't justify it. As much as I'd love to mess around with them, you know, I'm not going to get $78 of enjoyment out of either of them. So until Cryptic does a better sale, those are going to remain unpurchased. Question 10. Am I really a gold seller or botter? No and no. I do not participate in gold selling in any way, nor do I participate in botting in Star Trek Online. I do not want to jeopardize my account, especially now that I have spent so much time and money on it, and that having it and being able to do YouTube content is an income stream for me. I don't want to put myself in a position that jeopardizes that. So I do not participate in actions that would violate the Star Trek Online terms of service. Now, some of you are maybe missing the joke with my username on Discord. Following the reports that I've done in the past year, I have went through and had my username on my Discord as Spencer's Gold Seller Alt and Spencer's Bot Farm Manager, and this is simply done as a joke. I like to joke around. I'll, toss some memes out here or there, and any username like that is just, a joke in reference to that prior content. So don't take those jokes seriously. I don't want to do anything that would jeopardize the state of my account and my ability to play this game and make content off of it. And that's going to be it for today. So again, if you have any questions you want to have potentially answered in the next episode, then leave them down in the comment section below. And if you have any input on this format, then please leave it in the YouTube feedback channel in the CasualSAB Discord. Again, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. You guys have enabled me to do a lot in and outside the game, and I look forward to continuing to provide content for you guys as we move into 2024. Take care, and see you guys around.